Welcome back with another deck showcase, and this time we're still using the Neuvillette Bloom deck. And we match up with a Klee. Probably this Klee has the double pyro resonance. So let's go. Our deck goals here is to make first Kirara to do skill, followed by a Nilou skill. But seems our hand cards kinda good, so we can just proceed with the normal setup. So we can switch to Nilou now, and then the one die or the pyro die can be used for the Dunya card. And since Dunya has a discount, so we will be able to discount Jang. Okay? And with this, Dunya and Jang marks the end of our first round. So let's try to use Wagner by the second round and equip the weapon for Nilou. Okay. And our dice is so good because we can cast skill. Also, we can do normal attack or burst if we want to. I was thinking of using Joyous Celebration to remove the pyro, but I will just hold on for now. And that, dealing 3 damage and gaining 2 dice, which can be used for Nilou burst. But I think I will use it instead on Kirara so that we will be able to have Dendro application via skill or burst. Although we can kill it now by Nilou using burst, I think it's really ideal to use Kirara on this round. And with that, we will do a normal attack and burst, which creates a Bloom Summon for next round. So why next round? The summon will deal Dendro damage on either Bennett or Cube, and afterwards we can switch to Nilou. Oh, I use Joy Celebration here since I assume opponent will use the cube and we will have a free switch via Overload. So don't think that it's kinda weird to use Joyous that time. Oh. That Pyro Resonance will kill now my Kirara. Well, we still have what we want, but losing Kirara there loses our chance to apply Dendro after burst. So hoping we can finish the game before we lose all the Dendro application. Okay. And I think we can still do another bloom by tuning cards such this and Lotus Crisp so that we will have a dual summon. 2 usage of Bloom Summon. Okay. For the last dice, we can switch to Neuvillette, or we can use it for the cell. I think I will use it instead on the Meropid instead of switching to Neuvillette. So let's remove this Dunya since we already search or float a card. So that marks the end of Nilou. But still, I think we can still kill Bennett since we will still deal 2 damage via Bloom Summon, and when it starts with our turn, we can do a skill dealing 4 damage, killing Bennett. And I don't think opponent can or has Tevat Pride Egg to revive, but still, let's make it safe. So I will just use skill here since we cannot choose event cards, although we don't have event cards. Because opponent triggered the Nervet. Okay, and that's our first game. So far, for the last 4 games I had, all opponents quit before we able to land the final blow. So I hope for this last game, we can finish by landing the final blow. And now we match up with a, I think let's call it Fontaine deck instead. So the opponent chooses Fontaine deck, probably with Visage or other cards that works with heal and dealing self damage. Okay, same combo again, Dunya for Leven, hoping to get lucky. We got Zhang and we got Wagner. So I think our weapon shenanigans already here and hoping to get. So we got so lucky. So I think I will use Zhang and equip this weapon on Kirara so that we can do 2 skill by a normal attack and then using skill. So the remaining dice will be fed to Liben. And since opponent ends the round, I was tempted to do a bloom with Nilou, but I insist on doing skill on Kirara so that when we got the burst, even if we switch to Nilou or Neuvillette, we can ensure that we will be still able to do bloom without switching to Kirara. And we already got the weapon and the talent for Neuvillette. So we just... Oh, also the dice are so good. So I think it's best... So I think it's best to use burst for Kirara. Freezing Kirara, and then we will just switch to Nilou. And now we're done with Kirara. We can now switch to Nilou. So opponent. So I think opponent can kill Kirara. And by end phase, triggering the cryo and killing my Kirara. But still, we already done with Kirara since we got the burst. And hoping to finish the game before we runs out, then draw status application. Okay, so I think I will just fed again the last dice on Liben. So now our Kirara died, and we still have Nilou and Neuvillette. So I think we can use Nilou to do bloom and then switch to Neuvillette. But I think but I think it's best. No. So I will just stay on Nilou and do burst with Nilou before we switch to Neuvillette. And now opponent probably will use burst to heal Line and will deal melt damage on my Nilou. So we can kill now Charlotte, but we will gain a Hydra status via conspiracy. So can we survive? I don't think so. Yeah, so and that ends, but still we still have our Neuvillette. And since we triggered the Mirror Pit, we cannot use this, and I will just use Ito card for the energy and dice. Also, I will tune card so that we can do skill first, and then I will just use the talent next round after we successfully verse. But wait, I think it's better to verse now so that the Dendro will stack on Lynette, and once we do normal attack, we will be able to deal higher damage. At the same time, our Bloom will stay. Because in case opponent kill Lini via Bloom, we will lose the Dendro application by that round, and our Blooms may not survive for the next round. So I think we already trigger the Neuvillette weapon. Oh, so dice can be still used for normal attacks. So I think opponent will not use another card since we will be able to so opponent. And with that, Kirara damage 1 Dendro damage.
Over here.
And I think this GG, so we can just do a normal attack, healing for 2 and dealing 3 damage. By the next prep skill, we will deal 5 damage and we will just end. Probably the Bloom will kill Lynette, or we can continue doing normal attack, killing Lynette via normal attack. But let's see. Okay, so let's deal the final blow now. Okay, Paimon. And finally, we got the so for the all 5 games, we never landed the final blow. But still, it's a good win rate deck, and hope you enjoy.